Okay, so this is a demonstration of the data analysis. So let's take a look at this column. This column has the data numbers. So I started with 0. It doesn't have to be 0, but you need these integer numbers. The best way to create a series of numbers is actually just to start with nothing. For example, you start with a 0, and then you type in a 1. So now you have established a trend starting point, and this is a step size. And you can just go to the bottom right corner, and you see this black cross with white borders. The white borders are difficult to see, but they are there. You double tap, and it'll just fill up automatically with the same exact spacing or step size. So the reason that I have this is to automatically create these timestamps that are 1/100th of a second apart. So all I have to do on this second column is to divide the first column by 100. And same thing happens here. If you start with say a single formula that you know is right, and then go to the bottom right corner and double click, then you can fill up the rest of them, automate your formula. And I had the middle of each flash recorded. I was using Microsoft Paint. I drew a line, and I used up and down arrow to toggle up and down to see what's the best location to go across in the center. So that is the centimeter reading, and this is the meters. These are all data points that I recorded. It took a while, but it was well worth it. So all the data points here, I need meters per second, meters, right? So I divided this column by 100 to get meters. And let's make sure we have the right amount of digits. For me, this centimeter value has 2 decimals because I was able to read 5 or 0 on the second digit after decimal. That is, either I have a half a millimeter or I have an integer millimeter. I thought I was able to distinguish, so I had 2 digits. And that is reflected on the meters unit as well. I had 4 digits. Right? So then, this is a little tricky part, calculating the velocity. So let's click on this. See that these are all color-coded values that are involved in the calculation. As you notice, there's nothing involved along this row, but the row after and the row before were involved. So the blue here minus red, that is the displacement, the change of position. Make sure you have parentheses, and then divided by the purple minus the green. So that's the change of time. So they happened within 0.02 seconds of time. So there's that. I think B4 minus B2. Let's get rid of the dollar sign. The dollar signs are, oh, I see. I know why I had a dollar sign. I had a different set of calculations. I was using the same formula. So let's keep the dollar signs there. And for our demo, there's no need for dollar sign. So as you may have noticed, J, O, and before that is G. There's a few columns I was hiding because I was doing some additional analysis that required these dollar signs. You don't really need the dollar signs. So again, the formula gets automatically filled up if you double click the bottom right corner. And if you keep going down to your data points until the end of it, this one here, if you autofill, okay, so this one apparently the value is a little lower. It doesn't make sense because if you double click, you can see you have this row, well, basically against that row in the calculation. And if you open up this next one, last one, you have an empty row against a non-empty row. So apparently there shouldn't be this value. If you calculate velocity, you're going to have less data points than you had position to start with. So this one needs to be deleted. Okay, so now we have velocity versus time. What I did was I plotted both position and velocity versus time. Position is not required, but it's nice to inspect that this looks like a starting point of a quadratic, right? It looks like that. So there's position, there's time, and this is regard the velocity versus time. So click on that. Let's see, it should show up here. Oh, okay, I see. It's not showing up. It's probably one of those ones I was hiding. that's okay. So as you're plotting, you're supposed to plot velocity versus time. I'm only highlighting a small portion of the data just to show a point that you should go with the corresponding range, and the first timestamp has no velocity. You should skip that timestamp altogether and have the same number of data points for velocity and time when you plot that. So once you're done plotting, you should insert a trend line and make sure you have both the fit line, the fit curve, and also R-square value displayed. And then this is the middle. See, there are two more on the left and right. Because I was hiding them, I don't need to talk about them and on this video. So this is what I did with linist, right? So here's the formula. So linist of the y and the x, remember they have to be exactly same ranges. So y start with J3 and ends with J55, and so do the x ranges. And that does not include the empty space above or below the data points. And then make sure you hold down the control and the shift and then hit enter. So then you have this fit line, and you can use this to calculate your uncertainty and also your error. So it's nice to include this photo, but I trimmed it so I only showed the meter stick and the dots. This way the file I'm saving is not going to be huge, although it's still a few megabytes. If you save the whole image here, it will be pretty large, and it takes a while to open it. All right, thank you.